Hello everyone and welcome back to my biblical journey. Hope everyone's had a good weekend. It's about 10 o'clock here, nearly 10 o'clock that I'm doing this at night. It's the only time that I have any freedom away from the kidleys. Yeah, interesting weekend, full of birthday planning for my little girl who's going to be turning 6 soon. So yeah, I've had a lot of good reactions again from the videos. I'm pushing the 300 views on one of the videos, which is really pleasing, to be honest. I wasn't expecting that. As I said last week, I was expecting maybe 5 or 6 people would be watching it. So yeah, thank you very much. I hope you're all enjoying it. I try to make it a little bit different. This is a chapter, Genesis 3, that I think everyone is familiar with. It is Adam and Eve and the temptation from the serpent. So we'll just bash straight on. Genesis 3. Now the serpent was more cunning than any creature of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, "Is it true that God has said, 'You shall not eat of any tree of the garden'?" And the woman said to the serpent, "We may freely eat the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden, God has indeed said, 'You shall not eat it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.' And the serpent said to the woman, 'In dying you shall surely not die. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like God, deciding good and evil.'" I think that's actually quite interesting. So I was, sorry, I'm jumping straight in. I was actually going to read the whole book and then go into what I'm thinking about, but my brain's just... So it's interesting that it is that the serpent saying that you shall be like God, deciding good and evil. When I was younger and doing Sunday school and what have you, I don't recall it being described like that. It was more like suddenly having lots of knowledge and what have you, but actually basing it as deciding good and evil. I suppose that is... It makes you wonder what the plan for life was. Like, it's impossible for us to know what it's like without good and evil. It's like that is how we base our daily lives. So can you even begin to imagine what it's like not to have good and evil? I can't grasp it, because obviously we will see things on a daily basis of just looking in the news and we're like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Or you'll see someone do a really nice good deed on TikTok or whatever. Whether it's a good deed or whether it's them actually just trying to get views, I'm not sure. But the concept's there. So yeah, it's interesting what the actual plan was in the beginning. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasing to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. And the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Would you, if you were suddenly given immense knowledge and like discovering good and evil, would the first thing you do be, oh my goodness, I need to cover myself? Maybe. Interesting. It might just be, I mean, I don't think that would be the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, I mean, maybe they're sort of like, I mean, passion in itself can be a driving force, can't it? Like, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. So maybe having this awakening, it produced sort of like lust and passion, which is a bit, yeah, interesting. Thoughts, welcome. Place them in the comments. But yeah. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Then Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called to Adam and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard you walking in the garden, and I was afraid because I am naked, and so I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you that you should not eat?" And the man said, "The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are cursed above all livestock, and above every animal of the field. You shall go upon your belly, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He will bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." To the woman he said, "I will greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be toward your husband, and he shall rule over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree, of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, the ground is cursed for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. It shall also bring forth thorns and thistles to you, and thus you shall eat the herbs of the field." Now, is that a case of like God actually cursing Adam and Eve themselves and being like, you shall not have decent crops? Or is that just a case of you shan't eat anything from the Garden of Eden? The Garden of Eden is dead to you. Because I mean, he's saying you shall eat the herbs of the field, and it shall also bring forth thorns and thistles to you. That's an interesting one, because I mean, if there was a case that thorns and thistles perhaps weren't considered a bad thing, like the irony then that God's only Son should then have a crown of thorns. It's just a observation. It probably has no meaning, just an observation to me. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's different. Obviously, when you've read the New Testament, And then you read the Old Testament, the God that you're introduced to. There's a very different way about him. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just sort of like overanalyzing it a bit, but that's what I'm here to do. Right, where was I? And thus you shall eat the herbs of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread until you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all the living. And for Adam and his wife the Lord God made coats of skin and clothed them. And the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us to decide good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life, and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he had been taken. And he drove out the man, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of life. And that is the end of Genesis 3. Quite a few takeaways here. For me, it's more a case of what the challenges that Adam and Eve would face once leaving the Garden of Eden. Because if we are to take it as fact that they are the only people, then you've got two people trying to make their way through the entire world, I guess. Obviously they wouldn't travel the whole world, but makes you wonder. And also, as they are the only people, if we're taking it from that perspective, then that means that everyone derives directly from Adam and Eve. Okay. But that would mean that, like, the bloodline was true for everyone? I mean, how would that even work? We know that they had Cain and Abel. I think I'm thinking too far ahead. We know that there's more to come. Okay, so in 1 minute we're seeing God cursing the ground that Adam and Eve have been tilling. So it's presumably it is the Garden of Eden. But then he's clothed them in coats of skins. So he still loves them. And then he says, Behold, the man has become like one of us to decide good and evil. And there's that use of us again. So it's God and the Spirit, presumably. Or one of us like his angels, maybe, because his angels are, I mean, in some places it's described as an army of angels. Food for thought there. And also it says that he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden and a flaming sword. Now, I'm not sure I know what cherubim is or are. So let's have a look. Cherubim. like a cherub? It's like more like a divine angel. Cherubim. It's, some images that can't really pop up on the phone just yet because I'm still not into the editing yet, but I'll get there. I'll be adding. When I'm describing things, I will add little pop-up pictures so that you can see what we're looking at here. But yeah, I mean, it's like an angel by the looks of it. What are cherubim? Are cherubs angels? Cherubs are angelic beings involved in the worship and praise of God. The cherubim are first mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 3, yes. After he drove the man out, he placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. Prior to his rebellion, Satan was a cherub. Oh. The tabernacle and temple, along with their articles, contain many representations of cherubim. The cherubim serve the purpose of magnifying the holiness and power of God. This is one of their main responsibilities throughout the Bible. In addition to praising God, they also serve as visible reminder of the majesty and glory of God and his abiding presence with his people. Okay, so to me that's one of his angels. They're his angels. So is that the same thing, or perhaps it's an offshoot of angels? Perhaps there's different angels, different types of angels. I think I'm going to be learning a lot on this little journey, which is good. Okay. Cherubim. And what was the flaming sword? Did it have a name? Flaming sword Bible. Let's see. Oh, there's some fantastic imagery online for the flaming sword. What is the flaming sword in the Bible? Does it have a name? Be interesting if it has a name. What would you call the flaming sword other than the flaming sword? Flaming sword name. No, not Game of Thrones. It says a lot, doesn't it? The imagery has been used in other mythological properties like Game of Thrones. Flaming sword. It goes into mythology. And no particular name. So it was just the flaming sword. Interesting. Who wielded it? Okay, so that was Genesis 3. As I say, lots of things that you could probably do with elaborating on. I mean, this is the thing. Obviously, we're looking at a book here that is exceptionally old. And it's broken down into small parts. Certainly, the Old Testament, you kind of feel like you want this side book that just explains everything, because there's aspects of it that, like the cherubim and the flaming sword, it just, to me, is interesting. I want to know more about this. Which were the cherubim? Why a flaming sword? Was it needed? And it was to warn people away from what was left of the Garden of Eden. So, I mean, if we're warning people away, then we're warning at that time that it's just Adam and Eve. Or is there more? Or was there more? That is for us to maybe find out one day one day. But for now, it's food for thought. So on that bombshell, I am going to bid you all a very good night. And thanks once again for liking and subscribing, and God bless.